Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Nix. So, something that really infuriates me on a daily basis is how government and mainstream media go around pretending like everything's okay. You know, taking part in national dialogues, bending over to BEE, and then dear Sir Adrian from News 24 writes an article about the starvation crisis in a country 1,000 miles away. Yet, here in South Africa, the country he and we all live in, we have this nutritional deficiency in children. And I said as much to him on X. And isn't the point of mainstream media to hold the public and private institutions accountable? You know, because I can guarantee you this. The CEOs of all the private companies who are bending over backwards for the ANC, taking part in national dialogues, etc., they definitely do have a spine. I've worked with many of them. So therefore, it is an active choice that they are complicit in what is happening in South Africa. To stand by with their mouths shut while corruption carries on rife in front of all of our eyes, plain open to see, sitting tight-lipped, these CEOs and corporates. And I can tell you one thing, that is the only time you'll find a CEO with nothing to say. You know why? Profit over people, folks. Profit over people, always. I come across an open secrets report showing how corporate is complicit in state capture. Nedbank, being one of the alleged perpetrators of being complicit in the transferring of money, billions out of South Africa. They could have stood up, they could have said something, they chose not to. Why? Profit over people, folks. Always. So then this morning, lose my cool, man. Germany gives South Africa more money for some other green transition deal that, you know what, we South Africans will actually never reap the benefit from. You know, and I have to ask myself, they must know about what's happening in South Africa. I mean, you can't be one of the major EU countries and have as little clue about what's happening in South Africa as Cyril Ramaphosa. So, therefore, the only conclusion I can come to is that Germany is complicit in the corruption and destruction of South Africa. Standing by, accepting what is taking place in South Africa, because you know what? At the end of the day, holding another government accountable is just so much more work than handing out more money, hoping for the best. Yeah, that's the end result, guys. None of these people care. They just want to transfer money left, right, and center. And transferring that money, this little loan gift, who cares, from Germany, the only thing that's going to reflect is international investment. So Cyril can stand up in a week's time and say, oh, our international investments picked up. You went there with your stupid little begging bowl and got some more EU. And bless it, because the exchange rate looks terrible. So you're really going to cash in on that one, aren't you? Yeah. This rant really is just about complicity, which is participating in an activity, especially one of a questionable nature. It's being associated with, cooperating, being an ally, friendly syndication, hand in glove, in cahoots with, strategically aligned. And therefore, if you are strategically aligned, what is the strategy? What's the end goal here? Maybe you need to share it with the people paying your salary. So in some way, the message today is that we need to start putting a bit more pressure on the private institutions who are complicit in funding the ANC. So the fact that mainstream media is now incapable of holding our government accountable, we need to hold our government accountable. Our private institutions who are complicit in accepting this disgusting behavior from a government. Let's think about where we're spending our money. Let's think about putting pressure on social media platforms, calling on these delegates who get paid millions to attend every single meeting, flights paid, food paid, accommodation paid, and if I'm not mistaken, paid by the hour for their attendance. That's why the national dialogue is costing 700 million. Because we have to pay all these little representatives to represent us. I'm sorry, can somebody show me where I signed on the dotted line? I can't remember signing on the dotted line for that. We should be the ones who are able to make a choice about what happens in this country and where our country goes. And you know what's the most embarrassing? Continuing to fly overseas with your stupid little begging bowl, knowing full well that abolishing BEE could bring our economy to at least 3% growth. How blind are you, Cyril? How blind is the person representing South Africa, knowing, like, with that begging bowl, "Hi Germany, please, man, I'm still struggling to do the transformation." Sure, because you're too busy stealing. You could steal from an economy that's got 3% growth. But instead, you want to steal from an economy that has 0.6% growth. I saw a very interesting X post earlier this week, and it says, Cyril is focusing on dividing a receding pie, a pie that is getting smaller with more people. So all of our little wedges of pie just get smaller and smaller and smaller. And instead of stepping out of his own racism, out of his own trauma, his rage at revenge, and actually just saying, you know what, I would much rather steal from a 3% pie. As usual, the ANC is okay with living with the absolute basic, with bare minimum 0.6% growth. That's the pie you want to steal from, Cyril. You know what? I want a 3% pie. Abolish BEE. Hold the national dialogue representatives accountable on social media. And then make sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's important. So really, if you enjoyed this video, because my rant's over with now, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I really appreciate all my subscribers, all my new subscribers. And you know what? All of you who don't subscribe but watch my video, I also love you. By the way, you can now also become a member of my channel for as little as a tiny Coke. $14.99 a month helps me keep this channel going, supports me in making these videos. And you know what? I have bills to pay. Don't feel guilty though. But $14.99, become a member, get early access to videos, get priority replies, etc., etc. And that'll all grow in time as I get used to how to do all of this. Guys, let's stand up. Let's start showing our leaders how we expect them to behave. Yeah. Over and out. Have a great day.